world. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money world. Se arregla con dinero. Money world. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. You're also gonna change the kickstand knob, guys. All right. Let's take a quick look at the
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I roll over something.
Solo un par de gente se lleva el botín entero. Money, money, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero yo Lunes. Money world. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money world. Se arregla con dinero.
SE project branding logo that's on here.
Money world. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. You're also gonna change the kickstand knob, guys. All right. Let's take a quick look at the
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I roll over something.
Solo un par de gente se lleva el botín entero. Money, money, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero yo Lunes. Money world. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money world. Se arregla con dinero.
SE project branding logo that's on here.
Money world. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. You're also gonna change the kickstand knob, guys. All right. Let's take a quick look at the
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I roll over something.
Solo un par de gente se lleva el botín entero. Money, money, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero yo Lunes. Money world. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money world. Se arregla con dinero.
SE project branding logo that's on here.
Money world. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. You're also gonna change the kickstand knob, guys. All right. Let's take a quick look at the
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I roll over something.
Solo un par de gente se lleva el botín entero. Money, money, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero yo Lunes. Money world.
All right, guys, we'll just let that run one more time, and then we'll get
El
this
mundo quiere
started.
dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money world. Se arregla con dinero.
SE project branding logo that's on here.
Money world. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. You're also gonna change the kickstand knob, guys. All right. Let's take a quick look at the
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I roll over something.
Solo un par de gente se lleva el botín entero. Money, money, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero yo Lunes. Money world. El mundo quiere dinero.
Yeah, I know.
Money world. Se arregla con dinero.
SE project branding logo that's on here.
Money world. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar.
Really cool. You're also gonna change the kickstand knob, guys. All right. Let's take a quick look at the
Hopefully I'm all good, guys. I roll over something.
Solo un par de gente se lleva el botín entero. Money, money, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero yo
All right. What's good, everybody? Mike's in the building. Welcome to another Freestyle Sunday live stream. Always appreciate you guys tuning in. This one's been a little bit of an adventure just to kind of get things rolling. But always a pleasure to kind of get a new stream up and hang out with you guys. Just gonna do a little bit light cleanup work before we get kind of started, guys. I did a post on Instagram today, and a gentleman kind of commented regarding us doing a live stream of how they might not be as interesting as I think. He is more concerned about really just doing ride videos through New York City, and I think those are definitely something that's a huge highlight as part of the channel. And everybody enjoy a good ride, including the guest for tonight is Adobo Moto, really cool guy out of San Francisco. I think you guys are really gonna dig his content. Also, you're gonna dig the fact that he's a very chill guy. I'm gonna play some of his clips so you can kind of see and get a general idea of who he is before we bring him on. So if you guys see that I appreciate him, you know the kind of content that I produce and the kind of quality that I appreciate. And I think his stuff is up to par and really cool. So just to kind of make mention about what we do on the channel, guys. Again, we do moto vlogs, we unbox products, we review products, we do install. And I thought it'd be a great idea this season to start including doing a live stream every Sunday. Mainly, one reason, I think it's one of the main reasons, actually, it gives me an opportunity to really go one-on-one with you guys and really talk. And outside of having a voyeur experience when you're watching a moto vlog or watching a review where you hear my thoughts, this gives us an opportunity for you to connect one-on-one and ask questions and really get to know who's the person behind the helmet, the camera, and the kind of stuff that we do. So I think it's a great add-on. If you guys feel that way, definitely let me know by smashing the thumbs up, of course. And again, the ride videos will be coming, and we're gonna do what we do always. By the way, guys, I released a bunch of shorts this week because I was extremely busy, and I did drop that new Ducati Panigale V4 SP2 video. If you haven't watched it, definitely check that out. Drop a comment and hit the thumbs up. But we'll do what we do, basically just greet everybody before we get started. All right, we have a usual suspect. We have Governor D. Nice. Guys, if you're tuning in, you're watching this, I am going to add Adobo Moto's YouTube link in the description, probably sometime either right in the middle of the stream, or I'm probably going to do it afterwards. So, yeah, definitely go check him out. Show him some love. Drop a sub. I think you guys are going to enjoy his content. It's a pretty much wide variety of content style that he does. And I think you're going to enjoy it. We got Donna Main in the building, another usual suspect. Appreciate it. Wifey, always here to support and show love. So that's all good. And as usual, more people tend to be tuned in. We have Futuristic Vipers also in the building as well. But well then, let me kind of give you guys a little heads up here of who's Adobo Moto and what he does and why I think you guys should check him out. Oh, wait, we got that guy Kels. What's good, man? I think you're going to enjoy Adobo Moto as well, so definitely subscribe to him. He's big into track riding, and you're big into like street heavy, going hard in track, so you might like his work as well too. So just want to kind of show you guys a little bit of an intro to what he does. Let's go right here. And then we'll kind of jump right into it, guys. We don't want to waste any time tonight, man. Hopefully you guys are feeling good, man. We just changed the daylight savings, and we're having a pretty crappy day, to be honest, man. We had a couple of 60-degree weather days last week, and right when we went to daylight savings, right, we had snow yesterday, we had snow today, and probably more snow tomorrow, and I was hoping that we were done with it, but take a quick look, man, at Adobo Moto's work real quick. Don't fret, guys. I just realized it did not play the audio, but you know, I'm on it, I'm watching. Take a quick look.
What up, guys? It's your boy Adobo, and this is Adobo Moto. There's 3 of us. And now there's about to be 4. Oh my God.
My boy Loke, hit him up. What's your ID, bro? Holy shit, Marlon the magician. Sam the Flagger, aka Flag Girl. Damn, I don't fucking hate.
I'm letting this rock because I want you guys to see who he is. I like this dude. I
Go to and fro. You know what I mean?
Damn it, fuck it!
Yo, I'm gonna tell you right now, dude. I'm a little upset at you that you got rid of this R1. I actually really dig this bike, guys. So there will be a little bit of drama, guys, just so you know, because there was a little bit of static between Adobo Moto and Max Risk. For most of you guys that are watching, you probably know who Max Risk is. So just a quick heads up. We will be talking about that as well. We will be talking about his channel, the grind of YouTube and what it takes. So here's another video that I really dig a lot, and I think you guys will enjoy this too. So we'll definitely let that rock. Promise, it's the last one. You guys will enjoy this one, and then we'll start chatting up.
People are always asking me what it's like to own a Ducati. Owning a Ducati is the single greatest thing you could do in your whole life. It's way better than marriage and a lot better than having kids. When you buy a Ducati, you're buying into a lifestyle. It's kind of like prestiging in Call of Duty. All you need is money, and the best part, it takes no skill. When you own a Ducati, you could pretty much do whatever the hell you want. Like telling your Filipino mom, no, I'm not gonna be a nurse. As a Ducati owner, you're always gonna get asked, how do you afford the Ferrari of motorcycles? My answer is always the same. Let me give you a crash course in life. When you upgrade from your Suzuki Gixxer to a Ducati Panigale, you pretty much know everything there is to know about motorcycles. So anything anybody tells you about Ducati ownership and how they break down, how they have these issues, and how you have to do valve checks every so-and-so miles is BS. You know everything. As a new Ducati owner, you're gonna question some things. Like, why does this Akrapovic exhaust cost $4,000 when an Akrapovic exhaust for like a Yamaha or a Suzuki costs about half as much? And then I figured it out. Adamantium. When you finally become a Ducati owner, you start to develop allergies for Japanese bikes. It's nothing personal, you just can't hang out with some of your friends anymore who own Japanese bikes. Oh God. Oh, there must be a Suzuki around here. The best thing about Ducati ownership, I think, is unlike Japanese bikes who compete to have the highest mileage, Panigales, Ducatis in general, we compete to have the lowest mileage. So they sit in the garage for a really long time and hold their value. My bike is a 2015 and has about 2,000 miles. So if you ever wondered what it's like to own a Ducati, now you know. Go out there and get yourself a second mortgage, go take out a loan, go suck some dick, do whatever you gotta do to own a Ducati, because you can be a Ducatista too.
Yo. Hopefully you guys got a little bit of laughter out there, man. A few more people started showing up, the usual suspect. I'm just gonna greet everybody and then we'll definitely bring them on. Promise. We have to do it. You guys know the overall idea about this channel is really making it about people. And that's one of the things, that's one of the reasons I asked Adobo Moto to come through. And we make this channel about people as well, man. And by the way, his name is Paul. If you guys want to refer to him, of course. There we go. We have Nizhoni. So I saw her comment popped up, and I'm like, I have to go back to the comment section, and she just joined of the stream. I recently subscribed to her from our last stream. Again, what we do here, guys, is a small community. A lot of us are YouTubers. Some of us are just part of the community. So definitely show her some love if you want to drop her a sub. She drives a couple of bikes. She's a cruiser style girl. really interesting videos. You can tell she's very early on into building a brand or actually vlogging or creating content. But it's great to be part of that very early on to see early growth. So really cool. I'm glad you came to be part of the stream, and I managed to see your channel. We also have another good Ducatista here. We have I think Wilfredo's here. Just say, yeah, Wilfredo is in the building. So also like seeing that. Hold on, yeah. Let me bring up Nizohi so you guys can go check her out, man. I think she's a cool girl. So definitely go check her out, man. Her channel's pretty dope. And also, if you guys are here, you tune in, check out Adobo Moto. Go ahead and subscribe to him. So let's welcome him as part of the stream, guys. Really, really cool guy. Again, I've repeated this and I'll repeat it again. I think he might have dropped for a second. Let's see. Quick second. All good. We have contingency plans. No, he didn't actually. Yeah, perfect. There we go. There we go. Adobo Moto, guys. Oh, man. What's good, Paul?
What up, Mike? How you doing, man?
Yeah, man. Chilling. Really, really happy to have you on, man. I think I thought you'd be a great person to kind of interview and kind of sit down and talk with. You've owned several bikes. We were talking about you had a Ducati, you had an R1. You had some other Japanese bikes also. I'm not naming them because, you know, I'm allergic. You also started doing some very interesting things on your channel. You started doing car content. You're also doing electric bike content, and also you're doing one-wheel content. It's just a lot, guys, you're seeing. The reason why I kind of pointed all of those things out. But if I were a betting man, I'd say at some point you will see Paul kind of narrow down his channel once you start thriving a lot more. Because early on, guys, it's a real toss-up trying to figure out what works, what doesn't, and what content clicks. Would you agree?
Absolutely, yeah.
So out of everything else, what would you say that would be the main thing you like? I mean, I would say I would be betting it's motorcycles, but we all know how motor vlogging goes, how difficult that could be. So walk us through that, man.
Yeah. Actually, I never really wanted to be famous on YouTube. I only wanted like 1,000 subscribers. That was really my goal.
Okay.
I started YouTube because I've been riding for a long time and I have kids. And I never wanted them to ask, like, what was my dad like? You know?
Yeah.
And as a rider, man, and you got kids and you go out and ride, and, you know, we take the risk of like, oh, there's that chance that this might, you know, I might come back. I might not come back. So that's why I started motovlogging, is because I didn't want my kids to have to ask people like what I was like. They could just go online and watch a video and like, oh, that was my dad. And yeah, I mean, I had a lot of inspiration from, you know, other bigger YouTubers, but again, like nobody really looked like me until I started watching Snooge. And then
oh yeah, he's part Filipino, right?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that dude looks like me, and he's a motovlogger. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna start doing it too, man. So yeah, actually, funny enough, everybody thinks I'm from California, probably because of the way I talk and the way I act. You know, I got that West Coast swag, bro. And
my wife thought the same thing too. She was like, "Yo, he's from Cali." I'm like, "No, it's from San Francisco."
Yeah. No, I'm actually from Seattle, bro.
Oh, Seattle.
Yeah.
Yo, every video he's rocking, he always had the San Francisco hat on.
San Francisco hat.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm thinking that's like a dead on. I'm like, yo, he's from San Francisco. He's Seattle.
Nah, bro. Well, I do love California, man, and I used to live, you know, a couple hours from there, and that's why I came up here for the Army.
Yep. Oh, that's so funny you mentioned that. I was like, perfect segue. I'm like, so how is it transitioning from the Army and then you building a life, you know, out here with your family and writing and everything else? I know you mentioned about precautions about you going out and you might not come back. I also want to touch base about what are some of the precautions that you're taking now when you do go out? Because I do find myself being a little bit more conscious about my risk to reward from the way I rode maybe 10 years ago to now. So, yeah. So walk us through that. And by the way, thank you for your service, man. Big deal.
Hey,
I have
man,
to talk about that.
I appreciate it, bro. Yeah. So, yeah, definitely full coverage all the time. Every time I go out, it's very rare that you'll find me riding without full gear, as in like full leathers,
Hmm.
boots, full gloves, that kind of stuff. Just because, I mean, I know what it's like to go down. I've gone down so many times, and the times that I went down without a suit, I was out for like weeks.
Oh wow.
And then the times that I went down with a suit, I was fine. I got up. So one time I wrecked the R1 and I got it, picked it back up and I rode it home, you know? So I just don't see the point in riding without a suit, to be honest.
You know what's so funny? When I first initially discovered your channel, and you were in full leathers, and you guys were carving the mountains and stuff like that, and I think I commented something like, "Damn, you guys are going hard. Is it really needed for? Is it really needed?" And that was a couple of years ago. You know, it's so funny. I'm like, "Yo, is it really needed to be all leather up?" And I think you were like, "Yeah, you know, just to be safe and just to be prepared, just in case of anything." And you know, the funny thing is, I was telling my wife this season, I'm like, I'm gonna get full leathers just to have. It's funny how it's changed over a couple of years of you kind of doing it, where I would wear riding jeans, riding jackets and stuff. Even hot days, I might have, you know, risk a little bit. Now it's like, I think I'm probably gonna be doing the whole leather thing all the time, only because I feel like some of the bikes are becoming more powerful, and it's just so much more risk. And I feel like it's so important that I'm here for my family or for my wife if she needs me. And I don't want to have any circumstances where I become a hindrance to my family. So
Yep.
that's one of the biggest things. So I'm actually really glad that you've mentioned that. But we're going to talk about this R1 you got rid of and your fascination with Marilyn Monroe. That was a really dope livery you had on there, and she's actually right behind you. I can see that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of her, man, because I'm a fan of people who kind of like don't fit the mold,
Okay.
you know? Like we're moto vloggers, but we don't typically, yeah, I feel like I don't fit the mold of a moto vlogger, right? I just kind of do what I feel like when I feel like, which kind of hurts the algorithm. You know, it's funny. Professionally, my career is in marketing, and I actually, you know, I'm a college professor too, and I teach marketing and business to students, and I teach them all these things that I don't do.
You know what it is?
So
It's the fact that I think we're a little bit into ourselves.
yeah,
I suffered from the very same thing. I think I made mention in our last couple of streams where I mentioned if I knew what I knew now, or not as much into myself, instead of following the proper time span of what's in and what's going on, I thought being creative and being brilliant in like cinematography, that would put me over, and it completely did not. It actually sets you back when we're talking about YouTube. So yeah, you could
absolutely.
definitely elaborate on that, man. We want to hear it.
Yeah. So Marilyn Monroe, she's an icon. You know, she didn't fit the mold of a typical model back in the day. She was considered fat, whatever. But I mean, she's iconic. And I saw the R1M, and you know, M Marilyn. I was like, I don't know, man. I really dug her. And then somebody's like, you should do a Audrey Hepburn, and I'm like, nah, Marilyn Monroe's cooler, man. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, definitely for YouTube, you definitely got to niche down, stick to the same style, same topic. Sometimes even, you know, you kind of have to have a rhythm. Funny enough, I interviewed with, I don't know if you know this YouTuber named Mr. Beast.
Yeah. Yes, of course,
So
he's
yeah,
huge.
I applied for a job there, and obviously to get noticed, I made this cover letter, and all it said was, my mom told me I'd never make money doing art. That was my cover letter. So I got the interview, and then it turns out, like, you know, they're like, no, you're not going to be happy. You're a content creator. Like, we'd rather bring you on as like a guest than an employee. You wouldn't be happy as an employee. And I was like, oh, that meant a lot to me, you know? So I ended up, after that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna turn this thing around. I'm gonna start reading the analytics. I'm gonna start focusing on retention. I'm gonna start doing all the things that I teach my students to do, to try to build some momentum in YouTube, because, you know, I'm not getting any younger, and I would love to make this my full-time gig, just because it's something that I enjoy. I have fun doing it, you know, and it doesn't feel like work to me when I'm doing it. So Work-life balance, I don't think there's a real thing. I don't think that's just, I don't think that's real. I just think like you just kind of work, and if you can work doing something you love, there is no balance, right? So I think finding something that you actually love doing, you won't have to worry about work-life balance versus like working in a place that you don't like and then trying to balance that with life. That's when work-life balance exists, but that's just me. So.
I think that's interesting that you mentioned. I think a lot of people tend to share that sentiment where it's like, I'm gonna circle back to being a creator and you working out with you applying to work with Mr. Beast in a second. Just want to kind of lightly touch on this about where people mention if you like what you're doing, you never work a day. I can tell you guys, it's 100% lie. I think it's something that there's a lot of things that's in the ether. I think when we look at Instagram, YouTube, that tends to always give you the idea of like as if life is like a short burst of things. It's almost like everything is motivational when it's a lot of it is really not ideal because a lot of it's a lot of work. For example, I just mentioned in the very beginning where I posted the stream and the guy mentioned to me that it actually was not even the stream, it was more about the new V4 SP, and that he mentioned he likes when I motovlog, when he sees New York City. And my reply to him, I think it was great feedback that he gave me, where he ended up asking, where I ended up telling him, hey, it's great feedback. However, it does not benefit me if you're a silent viewer that's not subscribed, that will comment this years later. That's not a barometer for me to know what's working, what's not. And like you mentioned, being part of the algorithm, really watching what's going on and really watching what happened. It's minute by minute play. Last week, I spent the entire week uploaded every day. And granted, it is showing like growth. So those things are one of the big things I think for people that's starting out to really understand. And I think there's a lot of false prophet out there that's kind of guiding you. Hey, do what you like, do what you love, and it's going to be perfect. That's bullshit. I've said this before. If you want to find somebody to be a mentor for real, you should. And I think motovlogging really lacks that. They don't, I don't think anybody does it. I think only the bigger channels kind of fit the mold together and kind of know what they know. And then selectively together, they decide they're going to spew the same thing, I would say. And then misguide most people, probably. Now, as for me, you working with Mr. Beast, I'm assuming if you were to work with him or even somebody like Chase, for example, he has his own small company, I would assume you would negate the fact of you ever becoming a content creator yourself once you start working for somebody like this, because you have to sign an NDA. You can't give up too much information out. You can't give the inner workings of it. This is why I immediately said that. I'm like, no way they're going to hire him, because your intention would be to kind of gain some clout and then move on to yourself. Nobody's going to do that, right? Unless, a dominant person is going to be successful and have brilliant people around them to continue with their success. They're not going to propel you. You know what I mean, right? You agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think, and I was upfront with that. I was like, I'll give you guys 2 years of hard work so I can learn and take what I learned from what you guys do and apply it to my own. And then, the person that interviewed me was like, you're not a background person. I've seen your channel. You're kind of like in front of the camera personality. Yeah. And you'd be really unhappy behind the camera here. She's like, whether that's 1 year, 2 years, 6 weeks, a couple days, you're just going to be unhappy. And I was like, okay, that sounds okay to me. So,
you know what I think about that? And I think that's really cool that they screened that and they spotted that, because they can automatically realize you want to be your own entity, right? And whether people enjoy Mr. Beast or not and watch him and watch his content and see his success and the money he gives away, they know every day that you clock in, you work, even though there's this thing inside that you really want, and you would eventually grow to hate being there. I think that's what they're trying to preventing, which is really, really cool. So that's just a small little detour here, guys. So yeah, let's bring in this motovlogging thing, dude. You got to tell me. I know. I personally really like your content. I think you have something cool going on, and I think you and I share similar struggle where it just falls to the wayside and not getting the views, and you can produce as amazing content as you like, as high-end content as you like. If it's not getting seen and hitting the ether, it is just nothingness. How you deal with that?
Yeah, so that's kind of why I started branching out. Sometime when I got my first electric motorcycle, it became really difficult because one, I made a video where it was a tutorial on how to vinyl wrap a motor, and I knew it was going to do good. I knew it was going to be a hit just because nobody's ever done one. Nobody's done vinyl wrap, but I don't necessarily enjoy it. I kind of made that video because I got tired of people asking me to vinyl wrap their stuff. So I was like, let me just make this 2-hour long video where I teach you how to do it. And I knew that was going to be a hit, but that's kind of what my channel, like that's what the algorithm, that's what it caught me as. Like, I make vinyl wrapping videos. Like, I'm not a moto vlogger, so it doesn't push out my videos to people who actually watch moto vlogs, and that totally hindered me. And it was actually my wife's idea to make that video. She was like, "That's gonna do good because nobody's doing it." And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't want to be known as the vinyl wrapping guy." And now I'm known as the fucking vinyl wrapping guy. Oh, and yeah, and I wanted to be a moto vlogger. But anyway, I just at some point it's like, okay, people started knowing me as the moto vlogger in the Pacific Northwest, and then eventually I was like, oh, let me try this e-bike thing, and I don't know, I realized I enjoyed it, and it's still kind of 2 wheels. Not to say I'm going to move away from motorcycles ever, because that's never going to happen. But I think now that I'm starting to niche down, I think those are the 2 things that I want to do. I do want to keep it on 2 wheels, but I also want to bring in because I mean, electric's not going anywhere, man.
No.
Like, I'm eventually probably going to get a Zero or whatever electric super bike that they come out with. I think Ducati will probably, I think we're going to see a Ducati super bike that's electric. Come on, man.
It's going to be a while before that happens. But right now, you know who has me actually excited? Triumph. You've seen the Triumph T1?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
That looks really fascinating. I'm still not over the lack of sound thing yet, but it looks like a lot of torque, a big range. The bike looks pretty fascinating. It's very much like a Street Triple.
Yeah.
And I think that bike is really going to come to market because it's not a Triumph bike per se. So I've been working on a video talking about this. Want to be one of the news videos that I do. The government's behind that bike, and a couple of other big hitters are behind that bike. They're using Triumph's face and chassis, swing arm, and the branding around it. There's quite a few super intelligent people behind this bike, and more importantly, the government is heavy behind that bike to make some changes with Euro 5 compliance. So I think we will see that bike 100%.
Yeah, and when you see one that does well, everybody kind of follows suit. So
yeah,
I'm waiting for that Ducati to come out. That's all electric. I'll definitely be one of the first to pre-order it, man. I've been, I'm not against electric at all. I'm just waiting for them to come out with like version 3.0, right? I don't want the first gen.
Yeah.
I never want the first gen. I want it fixed, and I want the range, and I don't want to have to worry about taking it to some proprietary dealer. Like, I want to be able to work on it if I feel like, so.
That's going to be tough though. That's a tough thing to say, only because I feel like there's a hazardous issue when we're talking about electric bikes, just like Teslas. So for example, if you encounter any issues, not that you can't work on it, one, it's going to require for somebody not just to have knowledge about a combustion engine. You're talking about programming. It's going to be one thing. Safety with electricity, you can kill yourself, or it can burst into flames. So I think these are going to be very heavily restricted in terms of what you could do and not do. Maybe you could plug a USB 3.0 into it and like pre-program it, change the torque spec. I don't think they're going to allow people to open these things up just for safety. Maybe we're probably talking about years down the line, maybe.
Maybe, man. I'm a big fan again of a right to repair, and and I don't like that Tesla. That's the only reason I don't own a Tesla, is because I don't like that they don't practice the right to repair, man. Like, there's guys out there who are DIYers like me, and I enjoy tinkering. That's why I buy tools. If I don't have the tool, I'm not gonna go send somebody to come help me. I'm gonna go buy the tool myself and then I'll save it for another day when I need the tool again, you know. And people ask me like, how you acquire so many tools, man, like to work on your, I'm like, bro, like, because whenever I need one, just go to the store and go grab the tool that I need, right? Like bearing press or that kind of stuff. Like people don't understand. In my opinion, I think that breed is slowly dying. Like the tinkerers, the DIYers,
Slowly.
we're dying. Yeah.
Slowly.
But,
I've actually had a certified Ducati mechanic on here before, and he had so many great gems about working on bikes. And this guy was an advocate, not only just, it wasn't just business to him, where it was from Brooklyn Moto. Actually, I'm actually going to see him Wednesday. I'm going to bring my bike there just to kind of get a once over before the season start. Not only he works on people's bikes, he actually encourage you to kind of, you know, go out there and give it a shot. You're not going to cause any big damage. You just got to really kind of, you know, really compose yourself and kind of research before touching anything, and it's gonna help. But I want to kind of mention this, since you were just talking about YouTube kind of bottlenecking you to like the rap guy. I suffer from the same exact thing at the moment. I did something I was very proud of, and very early on, was working on the bike and showing that, because my initial thought was, hey, I'm going to do creative videos and that's going to take off. And I do have both my wife and I has a art background where we work on art projects and stuff like that. And I thought, hey, I'm going to do some creative stuff, and that didn't take off. And then I got into like going out to eat. For some reason on my channel it didn't take off, but for others it ended up working. And the other thing I ended up doing was working on the bike, taking it apart. But those videos are evergreen content, so they continuously get seen and people commenting. I have videos from like 5 years ago, people are like, oh, that really helped. And these videos are still part of my top 20 videos, and I'm working so hard to knock them off so that people understand there's other things, because I don't want to sit in the garage every day and work on the bike and take it apart, even though I love doing it. And those videos are not what's going to propel your channel to where it needs to be. So it's a tough thing, man. It's really difficult. You have to be very careful.
I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy both of your style of content. I like the tutorials. You know how I found you? I was in New York on a trip, and I was like, I think it'd be dope to own like a hyper. Cause I've always been a fan of hyper motard, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the longest, I mean, I still don't own one. I've test driven one. Still don't own one. I don't think I'll ever own one because I don't want that like love for it to disappear. But I was like, I wonder what it'd be like if I came back to New York. Like the only way I'd ride a motorcycle in New York is to be on a hyper motard. And then I started YouTube and like hyper motard in New York. And then you fucking popped up, bro. And I was like, oh shit, people do this.
I'm assuming you probably saw some of the monster videos. A lot of people always tell me, oh, why don't you get a super bike? Why don't you get this style of bike? For New York City, like I said, I keep on saying I have multiple bikes, and I still enjoy riding the monster the best. But now the Hyper is slowly becoming that bike because of the height. You're really up high on the street. Potholes or anything else are not an issue at all. So the Hyper is becoming that bike where it's the perfect mix, but you got to jump on the highway to get to Manhattan or Queens or anything like that. I don't think it's a great bike for the highway, not because it's not fast enough. It's definitely fast enough, but you're banging through gears a lot because it's very torquey. It's designed to be super torquey, so they're making the gears short unless you get it remapped kind of thing. So yeah.
Let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
So for the motovlogging side, do you still enjoy doing that?
Dude, you know what's so funny? I love motovlogging, man. I actually really like doing, out of everything that I do, I actually like doing it a lot. You know, I think there's a lot that goes into it, because the way I consume motovlogging content or watch people, like when I watch your videos, I experience your city. You guys go out for tacos, you meet up with friends, you go out to the canyons, and then your personality. So for me, it's like a whole experience. You know what I mean? This is why I started doing the multi-views. I do like where it's myself. You could see New York itself. And I thought to myself, hey, it'd be brilliant to actually show people what the city really looks like and the energy. So you could see some of the side views where you could see people walking by or talking. You could hear them. If you really go into it, but I don't think people really dive that deep into it. But I think motovlogging is a really, really dope thing to be doing. But it's so niche. that and not that there's not enough viewers. There's plenty of viewers. I think in our community, a lot of people feel like if one person takes off, they're gonna lose. I don't think so. There's just so much content when we're talking about motorcycle riding or enjoying your city, because you can enjoy everyone's city in a different way, different style, different personalities. I mean, there are some motovloggers I don't enjoy. I feel like I just can't picture, only because I feel like it's so childish, some of the yelling and shit. I'm like, what is this? You know what I mean? And I understand. I'm not knocking anybody. I think if you're like 18, it'll definitely work. But I think once you pass a certain area, it's like I can't watch this shit, dude. You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, I do like the bike. I like where I'm watching the experience, but when somebody's just like, you know, burping and farting and yelling and shit, it's like, what is this? Maybe because I'm just like not a kid anymore a little bit, and I feel like maybe I'm getting boring, possibly. So I don't know, but there's something for everyone. But yeah, I actually really like doing it. But I'm finding a new love though for really just working on. Actually, you know what? Let me just rephrase that. Not just like finding a new love for like reviewing product. I feel like if you're gonna go into this business, motovlogging is limited when we're talking about making it financially viable. So you're going to need to be able to do sponsorship work, preferably, you know, reviewing or talking about products, or you know, paid promotion stuff. So I think it's very important that you're able to do that, because it's very difficult to talk about this jacket while you're riding on the bike and really showcasing it or something like that. So I think there's an area that's the perfect blend, and I haven't found it yet, but I think it's there, man.
So that's good. I'm glad you still enjoy it, because I also still enjoy it. When I do a motovlog, I don't do it for anybody else but me, and like sometimes I'll go watch my old stuff and I'm like, oh, that was fun, man. It's kind of it's a memory that I had, and I don't have to like try to remember it. I can go back and watch it. So yeah, that's good, man. I'm glad you still like doing it, because I feel like there were some people that I used to be a huge fan. I don't know if you ever heard of Downshift 83.
Yeah, good guy, dude.
Yeah,
Downshift is a personal friend of mine. I could tell you. Yeah, he's definitely entertaining. He's fallen to the wayside heavily, and I'll let you finish going in, and I'll tell you my thoughts about this, because I share a personal opinion about people like Downshift. I actually did a stream, Downshift, Snowcat, 6for4 Honda, a lot of them. So I'll jump back to that. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I love his stuff, and I know he got into the car thing, and there was something that happened, and he mentioned it before, but I was like, yo, dude, like, you're one of the first ones to ever do this, man. And I feel like he's like he's like one of the godfathers of motovlogging.
One of the OGs,
his, like, he's the reason I wrecked my bike, bro, like doing 12 o'clock wheelies, bro. Like I was like, you know, I was trying to learn from him, and I don't know, I still follow him on Instagram, and yeah, I mean, and then there's another cat that I follow, what's his name? I think he's from the South. He bought Downshift's Panigale.
Fast Lane D. Yeah, he's on the come up quick. I like his content
another
too.
Cool cat. Yeah. He hit me up and he's like, "Hey, where do you live?" And I was like, "I don't know, bro." He's like, "I wanna connect," you know. And I'm like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "Dude, I'm down." This was like when he was like a nobody. Like, I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to call him a nobody, but I've been a fan of his since he started too, you know. And I'm just like, there are just some people that I feel like are just born to be, you know, moto vloggers. Fastlane D is one of them. Downshift's one of them. I didn't watch too much Snowcat, but Snooge was another one, bro. I'm just like, there's times where I'm like, is moto vlogging dead, or is it just like the people who watch this content are like me and we grew up and we stopped watching moto vloggers? You know?
So my take on this, again, I've shared this sentiment heavily, and because I've tried doing something similar here in New York, where trying to gather, because New York City has a lot of people that's attempting to do motor vlogging or are doing it as well. None of us is tremendously big, and I shared the sentiment very early on. What Fastlane D is doing is reaching out to me. He reached out to me as well. He's been out in New York, and it was through winter. And you guys know I'm black. I don't do the whole like winter and the cold thing. No, I'm just fucking around. But yeah, I don't ride in the winter. So we're definitely going to make something happen. He will be on the stream actually at some point. I just haven't gotten a chance to get back to him. He did hit me up for that. Cool guy. I love his work. His pace. What's great about his videos, the pacing is right. The pacing is really good, and something that took me years to actually understand and learn actually. And he had that right off the rip. So that's a huge benefit. But to kind of answer that question regarding downshift, you have, and that's a slew of people that are really good content creators that completely disappeared. And what I think happens in our industry, because it's very niche, very to itself, and I think since early on, I think there's a lot of fear also where if Adobe Moto blows up, man, fuck Mike, kind of thing. He won't get anything anymore. And I don't think that's the case as well. And I mentioned about having mentors. Like, let's say if someone were to really be into this and you see potential, for example, like Nizoni, right? Where she's just starting out. You know, I watch her content after she watched the stream and subscribe and just gonna be motivating. I thought it was pretty cool that she's starting out and she's riding a big bike and stuff just to kind of propel a little bit. And I'm always, my door's open. Somebody asks a question, I'm more than willing to answer the real answer, of course. But there's none of that stuff where people are willing to say, hey, man, I think this person has potential to become something cool. I think it's going to be great. The more of us that are out there, the bigger this can become. They don't do that. So I think people like Downshift, and again, there are things about Downshift that are really cool, and there are some things that I could speak. I mean, as a friend, I could say this. There's some places where Downshift could have it excel at, and that's kind of left this channel in that exact time frame when he was successful. It hasn't moved forward. And to some point now, when he uploads, he gains negative subs. Well, not gain, loses sub. Which after me being on hiatus for a couple of, I think almost 2 years when my wife got sick, my channel was getting negative subs. It's just now, we're talking about in the past 30 days, I'm just hitting the positives again. So, you know, again, that's me spending a gang of time just reading, understanding all. I'm not watching, I'm not even viewing the videos. I'm really reading all of the specs, the stats, what's happening, why is it happening, having a real understanding. And again, some people that are seasoned, that are here, that are in the game, they know way more than me. They know way more than you. And that information will never be disclosed. Or if they even potentially see someone that's talented, it's basically good luck to see if you figure it out, kind of thing. And I think that's the thing about our niche community, that's either, because you can see, I'm sure you've noticed with the whole cruiser lifestyle is really booming. Blockhead, Brandon Picasso, some other guys that ride cruisers, they're doing really well. There's this, like, their niche is really about community. And they're not just saying it. I know a lot of people say it's a virtual signal. Theirs is really, you can see their growth happening together. They're all going to events together. They're all doing press events together. We don't share that.
Yeah. I think that's the right way to grow moving forward, is, you know, community forward thinking. So I agree.
Yeah. So I think that's definitely the thing. So I have to ask you this question. How tall are you? Because you mentioned you like the Hyper, and I know you've been on the R1. The R1's a pretty tall bike. I've been on one of them. I think I'm 5'7", and I have to tiptoe on the Hyper. Actually, to be honest, I believe the Hyper, this bike is flawed. Very few. I think I've only met 2 people that can flat foot that bike my entire life.
Yeah. I'm 5'5", so I was. So a friend of mine worked at the Ducati dealership, and she was like, take the SP out because the seat height is actually lower. Mm-hmm. If you take the regular one out, then it might not work for you. And yeah, so the SP would work for me. I think it has a thinner seat, like less comfortable seat apparently. Yeah. But it's lower. So yeah, 5'5" and tippy toe one side.
Yeah.
But I'm used to it. That's how I've been riding forever. So.
Yeah, man, it's definitely a very interesting bike, very fun. I would tell anybody, if you're gonna cop that bike, make sure you get the later version. There've been some areas here where I think out of all of Ducati's lineup, that's the one that's the most finicky. to be honest. And you guys know I love Ducati, and I'm not gonna hold it back for them just because I do love the brand. I like their bikes, but I think that's the bike that's the most worrisome when we're talking about picking a Ducati, in my opinion. Unless you're buying the latest one, I think right after 2016 or so, you should be okay. But anything else on that range is tough for me to be like positively say, yeah, grab it. So for sure. Now we're just gonna jump into something real quick, guys. I did mention we are gonna be talking. I want to mention about. I'm gonna bring you right back on. Give me a second, Paul. Guys, just want to quickly highlight this video here. We're going to talk about one of the main thing that blew up on Paul's channel, the Adobo Moto channel, is a max wrist issue that he ended up having. It wasn't necessarily, I would say, beef really, because I don't think Paul is that kind of guy, but he's definitely outspoken, and if something bothers him, he's definitely going to make that a conversation and talk about it. And this is not to say that he's the type of person that would look for something like this for clout or anything like that. But you can tell, guys, if someone is, in the Army, it takes a certain dedication. So I'm assuming, not assuming, actually, I would bet my money it's more of an upstanding guy. If he sees something that's off, that's wrong, that he would definitely speak regarding it. So I'm assuming that's what we'll be seeing here. So I want to kind of play this clip here of a max wrist video before we kind of dive into it. This is one of his biggest crashes. And then we'll kind of talk a little bit more.
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Wristy. 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 Wristy.
This is definitely difficult to watch,
Wristy.
guys.
What do we do? Jesus! Right here! Jesus! Jesus! Oh, fuck.
The one good thing about this video, you can see that all wearing leather, so that's really good,
Jesus.
guys. It's a tough thing, man.
Oh, shit. Oh, no. Jesus. 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 Corey. What do I do? No. He's snoring.
Just a quick heads up, guys. This is not my footage. This is by Dan and the Fireman footage. Using it just for favor, so you guys know, just so you can get a general idea.
Oh, no.
And I'll say this is probably one of his latest crashes. So. Yeah, man. So, Max Wrist is a very interesting character that's on YouTube, guys. He has a wildly successful channel, and he did end up having some issues with Paul here from Adobo Moto, and that was probably one of his biggest one of his biggest peak on his channel, I'm assuming. And if I was another betting man again, I would say, just like me, you much rather not have stuff like this to be the highlight. I much prefer the positive to be the highlight, but for some reason, it's always the bad that becomes the highlight. So, Paul, just kind of walk us through, man. So, I mean, granted, guys, this is a little bit clickbaity, me playing this clip. It's really not about the crash, really. It's a little bit more regarding that, but it's just kind of give you a preference of the kind of riding he does more. Very canyon carving, very heavy, but you can see at least they're safe. They're wearing gear, and of course, this is one of the multiple crashes. So yeah, walk us through some of the basically what happened and what caused the whole situation with you and wrist.
Sure. I reposted one of his videos. This was like when I was starting YouTube. I reposted one of his videos on, I think it was Motor Rider Universe. I was a huge fan, man. I liked his writing, and I liked the editing style. And actually, I didn't know at the time, but I thought I was talking to the real Max Wrist. Yeah, I can't even say it. But he kind of helped me out with some editing tips too. He's like, yeah, ND filters, 30 frames per second, this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh man, I appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
Oh, you know what's so funny? Pause real quick.
Sure.
Actually told you the truth. Rarely do other motovloggers actually give real advice. That's true.
That's why, that's part of the reason I was like, oh, dude, this dude's super chill. Like, just a regular guy. Posted a video and some guy comment. I forgot his name. He's like, dude, like, I can't support that guy. He did some really, messed up things in Italy. He's actually a senior NCO in the army. And I'm like, actually, I just got out of the army, and then he's like, yeah, do some digging and then you'll see. Like, don't let me cloud your judgment. And I did, man. And then I just found out some things, and the things just kind of added up. I was a huge fan of Snooge. Snooge did a video with Max Riss down in California, and I was like, I thought Max Riss was down in Italy. I recognized those roads. Those are Italian roads, those license plates. I thought he was in Italy, and then it kind of added up. So Max Riss actually went to jail. And military jail is not like civilian jail. Military jail, when you go to jail in the military, yes, it's a lot harsher of an environment, but it's a lot less of a sentence. So I think he did 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and all this was confirmed. I think they confirmed it as well. They even made a video about it, and it, included me for some reason. But obviously, they felt so. After I made that video of like calling him, a rapist or whatever, I didn't even call him that. I was just kind of like just questioning, like, hey man, is it true? Like, I want to know, because I hit them up before I made that video, man, because I just wanted to know, because I'm like, yo, I'm a huge fan. If it's as true, just let me know. And, I can't support you anymore, but that's, I'll cut ties. And then the response that I got was, as long as they're talking about Max Risk, good or bad, then that's all that matters, right? That was the response that I got. And I was like, hey man, like, is this true, bro? Like, the guy that I talked to that helped me, with some of the editing styles and got me into ND filters was actually the editor. Apparently, I found out later. I don't know which one is Risty and Maxi, but one of them was the guy I was talking to. That was the guy in California, and that's the guy I hit up before I even made that video, dude. I'd never and then it just bothered me. I just had a daughter, and it just bugged the crap out of me. So I was like, you know what? You're not gonna answer my question, dude. Like, I just want to know if this is true, man. And then we sent them the video, me and my buddy, like, hey, can you send it to them? Maybe this will catch their attention. And again, it was the same response. Like, hey, as long as people are talking about Max Risk, good or bad, doesn't matter. It wasn't until that video got to 100,000 views that they were like, hey man, can we talk? Hey man, can we talk? Offline, da da da. I'm like, dude, you guys ignored me for so long and said you kind of try to brush it. I'm just gonna leave it up. The girl that was assaulted, she found me, and surprisingly, a lot of big YouTubers hit me up offline, and were like, hey man, we support you. I've actually met this guy in person, and he's really creepy, da da da. And I just kind of kept it up for so long, but then eventually I took it down because I didn't, Dan, I did a thing with Dan, and then even Dan was catching flack for it. And he's like, hey man, I'm going to take down some of that stuff because I don't want to be known as that. And I'm like, I'm becoming known as that guy. So I took it down. I made it unlisted, and then I eventually made it private because I was like, yeah, it's not, he did his time. It's confirmed that he did his time and he pled guilty. And in my opinion, I don't know who would plead guilty to something like that if they weren't guilty, but I guess, I don't know how the judicial system works. All I know is he did 2 years, pled guilty. Everything that I said was true as far as conviction goes. I never said that he did it. I always just questioned it. Like, did you do it? But everybody kind of a lot of his followers are kind of like a cult following, but it was the other side that helped me keep the video up. The people that are kind of like, yeah, I support you, dude. I met the guy that dude's a total creep. He's actually not that fast. I'm sure he's faster than me in the canyons, but a lot of people have told me he's actually not that fast at the track. He asked me, and it's just I'm not trying to brag or anything. I think I'm going off topic, but basically, Yeah, I was right, man, and I'm not gonna support that, and I still stand by that today. I unsubscribed when they started ignoring my stuff, and then when they started making a video about me and they told their followers to come and like, come bash my channel. Basically, I was like, dude,
Probably
like, it's not
bury you
that
a little
serious.
bit.
Yeah, I was just like, it's not, dude, it's not that. I mean, if at least like I did my job, right? I might have just hurt them just a little bit, right? Like, granted, they didn't do anything to me, but as a fan, like, you feel kind of betrayed, you know? And for me, I was just like, dude, you're my brother, man. Like, we were the same color, you know? We're green, bro. Like, if I saw you in a uniform, like, I would help you out, but you know, I yeah. So that's my stint. That's my thing on it. Yeah.
So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. I know I look down as I'm doing this, guys, because I'm a little scatter brain sometimes as I'm doing a lot of things and I'm monitoring a lot. So I'm notating stuff that I need to kind of roll back to. So it's interesting that you mentioned they didn't say anything to you for a long period of time. It was one of those things. I'm assuming it's like good or negative or in between. If as long as people are talking about you and you're getting clout, it doesn't matter. I think it's a very interesting thing, and I've actually given this a lot of thought because being on YouTube, putting in work, investing a lot of money, we're talking about, I'm not just talking about the bike or insurance or anything like that. That stuff would have been part of my life no matter what, because it's just, that's my bike. I enjoy it. I don't buy, not a single one of my bikes were purchased for content. I bought the bikes because I love the bikes, and that was like a thing for me. So that's not counting. I'm talking about, equipment and the filters. We're talking about, you can get hundreds of dollars worth of ND filters alone. Just for that, since you just mentioned that, just to do it right, so it can look right. So there's a little bit of that. I teetered with like, should I do more clickbait? I never did clickbait. Should I have not done certain things? So I thought it's interesting that someone's willing to put their own reputation, where something is that serious. Again, since it's YouTube guidelines, I don't want to kind of use the word so it doesn't like flag the video or anything like that, where, something is happening where it can impact your life permanently or cause severe damage to your career, that you'd be like, oh yeah, if I'm getting clout, as long as good or bad, that's wild. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
That set me off, man. Like, I sat on that for 2 weeks. Like 2 weeks, Mike. And then I think I was like making breakfast or something for my daughter, and I'm like, there's, and I know he lost followers because of this, and I know that's why like they started bashing me, is because there's other people that thought like me, and I just thought about that message of like, see something, do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see that enough. I've seen shit happen in the streets. I've seen hit and runs. I actually followed a guy who ran like multiple red lights, and he was drunk, right? And it's like I followed him until the cops came, and it was like 3 or 4 jurisdictions of cops, because like he kept crossing like certain county lines or whatever. But I've always been that type to like see something, say something. Granted, like, I'm not perfect. Nobody is. And if I'm doing something wrong, I would hope somebody would, see me doing something wrong and say something. And that's kind of how I've lived my life, man. And that's kind of how I got to where I am. I take calculated risks, but I also don't let anybody just do wrong to other people. It's just mind-boggling to me that, thousands and thousands of people just did not care. Like, there's some people that hate me. I'm like, yeah, but I like his videos, so it is what it is. Even my own friends, like, they're like, yeah, bro, like, I don't. I'm like, yeah, it's cool, man. You have your opinion and I have mine, right? But it's like, why is your opinion right and mine is wrong?
Well, there's other people have different stakes into something. So I'm gonna play a little devil advocate here when we're talking about that.
Sure.
I do see some people here commenting in the comment section, like that guy Kels. I'll be going over the comment section with you and kind of answer. So if you guys have any questions, definitely comment or write the questions. We'll definitely answer towards the end. And also, if you're tuning in, guys, you're watching this later, subscribe and hit the thumbs up. Helps with the channel, of course, the usual thing. So I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate here. There's two sides to every story when something happens, and I think it's a difficult thing to tackle. A very good friend of mine, actually, it's a multi-part question, so we'll kind of go a little bit. There's multiple parts to the story. I've never really heard the other side. We're only hearing one side. So I always, I'm one of those people. I have to hear everything before I say this person's messed up or the other person's not messed up. I guess it's just part of being, leadership position or something like that. You have to look at every situation in that manner in order to make the proper decision. Would you say that you felt a certain way that since you were one of the only people that made a video about it, or at least talked about the situation in our niche motorcycling community? Because I know people are hitting you up on the back end, but nobody was really being public or saying anything.
Yeah.
And why is that? Why do you think is that?
They had a lot to lose, man. One of them actually said that. I'm not gonna name his name, but he's hitting 1 million soon, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, I hit him up. No, he hit me up, and he's like, "Hey, man, like I stand with you." I was like, "You should make a video on it, bro. Like nobody believes me." He's like, "Yeah, I got a lot to lose," and I was like, "Okay, that makes, in my opinion, yeah, that makes sense. Got a lot to lose." But I do agree with you. Like, there's two sides, and I don't think I actually said he did it. It was more like a question. Like, here's what I found. Here's some links that I found. Did you do it? Did you do all I was waiting for was like a confirmation, like not did you do it? Did you spend time? Did you go to jail? Did you, was this guy the editor? Those were my questions. And then they confirmed it later on. Like everything that I said, as far as like timeline, that the pieces that I put together was confirmed in their own video.
So one of the things, so when all this was developing, and I'm like, oh shoot, this is crazy. A very good friend of mine, which I know and trust, I guess knows Max Risk personally, and mentioned to me that some of this stuff is a lie. A lot of it didn't happen, and that the girl's trying to extort him and stuff. So there was just a lot going on. Again, it's two sides to the story. I don't know anybody. I don't know any of the sides or not. I think what's very interesting about your approach, since you really like the guy, you like this channel, you asked and it was never answered. So I think that's kind of, because if I didn't do something, I would say I didn't do this, or I would make it clear. But then again, the judicial system works in very weird ways, man. Sometimes I could speak about this in this light because I've seen personal friends. I've never been in circumstances where I had to go to jail or anything like that, or deal with law enforcement. That's just not how I was raised. But where in order to get less of a punishment, they had to say yes, which is kind of messed up. So, but again, I still think it's something that was a huge bump in the whole market of how that impact things. And I think one of the other things I thought that was very interesting regarding the whole Max Risk situation, that he was creating this really aggressive, weird, I can't say negative vibe, but like, I guess negative in the light of, regular communities, regular people, where he's writing in a foreign country, in a place where people felt they were uncomfortable. But again, you have to remember his demographic is enjoying that quite a bit. I've never been sub to him, but I've seen his video. I've watched his video because it was YouTube is recommending his motorcycle video, and some of his writing is pretty dope. Where he's like going through and wheeling like past a car and stuff like that. And again, you guys can't. The inertia is somebody. If you ride, you'll know what inertia feels like, what speeds really feel like. When you make a video, that tends to not translate. This is why we were talking about ND filters. Because the eye don't see full frame. Okay, so if you break it down to the way the eye see, if you spin your head real quick, what's around here is going to look blurry. So that gives you somewhat a sense of inertia. So Hence why, if you're shooting the right frame rate and having an ND filter, which we could go really in depth into this, it would look, the eye would basically understand the speed that you're going as they're watching. So very interesting aspect. But I think that was one of the things. I think some people, and he blew up on the scene.
Can I say
big.
one thing?
Yeah.
So in my experience, so I was in the Army. My last unit, I was attached to an MP unit, and I saw the judicial process like kind of firsthand. The unit that I was attached to, they were guards for people going through the judicial system in the military, which is called I forgot what it was called, but it's something totally different. But essentially, I have never seen anybody, and I've seen, some high-ranking officials in the military. I've never seen anybody go from his rank to the rank of private in that swift of a timeline. If you think about, I guess, what's happening in society right now, right? Where, law enforcement is being, it's almost like everybody's looking at you now, because law enforcement is getting away with things in our country that they shouldn't be getting away with. And because, those organizations tend to protect their own.
Yes.
That also happens in the military. And the fact that this guy was not protected, being such a high ranking, I mean, once you go E7, man, like they call you a govy, which means like you're pretty much, that's it. Like there's no going down from here unless you do something really heinous. I've never seen anybody ever in my career. And I was in there, man. I watched, I mean, I've never even seen, I've seen a guy, he was in one of my units, and he committed fraud, and I didn't see him do time, like he committed like really, really this crazy fraud. And I've seen like sexual assault victims, and people have never ranked down like that because there was just not enough evidence.
Okay.
Right. So that's part of the reason I was like, okay, I definitely tried to play devil's advocate in my head. And part of it wasn't just like me choosing one side. It was very like, okay, here's what I've seen. And I've never seen anybody go from an E7 to an E1 ever. Like,
can you
ever, man.
Explain what's an E7 and E1? I
E7,
don't know. I don't speak the
enlisted 7 is a rank.
Okay.
And it takes some people don't make E7. Some people do 20 years and they never make E7. They're kind of stuck at E6.
Okay.
E6 is staff sergeant. E7 is sergeant first class. And then once you make 7, you're on your way up to E9 until you retire, right? You never go down. It's really difficult for somebody to drop from an E7 to E6. So E1 through 6 is like, it's almost like guaranteed if you stay in long enough.
Okay.
But E7, you have to be picked up by the government. It's a different process of ranking up. And once you make it there, they protect you. They protect you. And I've seen it. And the fact that this guy was not protected like their own, it led me to believe that like there was enough evidence against him to say, yeah, this guy is going. And I'm not saying he did it, but he did the time, so that's just my spiel. Yeah.
Oh, that's nuts, man. That is definitely nuts. So I'm just going to switch gear real quick, guys. I know there's quite a bit here. And you guys know we don't stay in the dark too long. So just going to highlight this real quick. One sec, Paul. I'll bring you right back in, guys. So again, I've mentioned, if you guys are tuning in, you're watching the stream and you enjoy the content that we produce, definitely come through and show some love, man. I would really appreciate it. Also subscribe to Paul's channel. Just want to kind of highlight some of the stuff that he does also that I think is pretty cool, so we don't stay on a negative note. Of course, we're talking about anything and everything, but I also want to show about some of the good stuff. So let's take a quick look of one of his reviews. He does product review and showy helmets, one of his thing. We did a Ruroc video before, so I'm going to ask him about his thoughts on Ruroc, so I might as well bring on this Shoria RF 1400 video you did. Hopefully I don't get claimed for this music playing, but yeah, man, you guys can see cinematography work, man. Definitely like that stuff, man. And the filter.
What's going on, fam? It's your boy Adobo. We're here at Triumph of Seattle again. We're here with my homie Haley. You guys have seen her in some of the videos. She's actually one of the managers here.
Really, really cool video, guys. I mean, he is crushing it, I think, in that regards, where he's doing that kind of review and unboxing. I just wanted to play a little bit of a cinematic so you give you a general idea of some of the content he produced. Also, again, it's like a slope here, man. We're talking about anything and everything as long as it's motorcycle related and community. And again, I have to mention this, man. Paul, I like the first video I played of your channel. The reason why I chose it, I mean, he has a wide variety of content on his page. I like the fact that it highlights it's all about community, the people. And the funny thing is, I feel like my channel has been about me. And one of the biggest thing I've learned and changed for this year, I'm like, I need to make my channel more about everyone, about others. And then people could see who I am. So I think that's something that's really cool, man. So, yeah, man, let me know what's up with this helmet review and stuff. I've seen you do a lot more reviews, but I really like that one. And I actually dug that helmet, so I'm like, yo, let me play that real quick.
Yeah. So my first Shoei helmet was the RF 1000.
Yeah.
I was an Icon boy on my first bike back in 2007. It came, yeah, I know. It came with the bike, and I thought it was cool, and it actually didn't fit me. It was a large. It's funny. And my buddy Jermaine, he was like, bro, try this Shoei. Like, I guarantee you, like, you're not gonna rock anything else. Like, you're not gonna rock that Icon. He's like, I bought an Icon brand new once, and it gave me 9 stitches in my head. I hit a pothole. And he's like, I never rocked Icon again. I was like, all right. I tried it, dude, and then how it cut through the wind, it just sliced through the wind. I immediately went to the dealer, bought an RF 1000, and then, 10, 12, 13, 14 years later, I went to the 11, and then I rocked the 1200 for a really long time. And my friend Haley, that was in the video, she was like, hey, we're getting the 14s in. Do you want to be like, do you want one? Like, we can give it to you before Shoei actually releases the helmet.
Oh,
and I'm like, all right, but that's
cool.
yeah. And then I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah. So I went there, made a little video with them, and then I got the helmet, brought it home, did some reviews. And funny enough, I haven't ridden it since, man. I've been rocking the AGV.
Oh, wow. So you went back to AGV.
Yeah. So I bought the AGV so I could do more track days using the AGV, because I like the field of view. I like that it cut through the wind. I hate the noise. It's really noisy, but I love how lightweight it is. And also I love the liner. I think the liner is some kind of soft material. I want to call it suede, but it's probably not suede. It's probably something else. But the liner in the AGVs, even like the K series AGVs, they feel a lot nicer on my skin than the Shoei does. So I actually moved away from Shoei, man.
Oh, wow. So you're not using the Shoei at all?
Not anymore. No, it's on the shelf. And I don't think I'm going to be using Shoei ever again. I think I'm just going to rock the AGV from now on.
Is it because you feel like it's too loud?
No, it's actually way more quiet than the AGV. It's just, like when you take your helmet off and on all day long?
Yeah.
And it kind of hurts your cheeks.
Okay.
Well, that's what the Shoei is like for me. But I like my helmets really, really tight. The AGV, I can take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on, and it just doesn't hurt my face. So that's what I rock. It's a lot noisier though. If road noise bothers you, don't get the AGV, get a Shoei.
Yeah, I kind of figured that only because I kind of figured you'd have that same issue regarding that because of just the fact that the AGVs are really sleek looking helmets. They're designed to cut the wind quite a bit, but they are designed for that mainly, so they're gonna be a little bit louder. So I'm actually pretty shocked that you left the Shoei helmet. Actually, I played a clip of you riding with it and stuff while you were talking and stuff. I think those helmets are pretty cool. I love that. It's like a Nardo gray looking color. So yeah, shocked. So what's your thought of Rorock, since you did like Icon, since the look?
I watched your video on it, and I had a feeling you were gonna have the same opinions as I did, because I commented on everybody that hyped up this helmet, and I'm sure this generation is great, right? I'm sure it's amazing, like they say, but my issue with it is like it took you guys 4 versions in about 4 years.
Yeah.
To develop the helmet that should have came out in the first. That means people bought the helmet, version 1, version 2, version 3, and then it's like, oh, we finally got it right with version 4. When in reality, you should have just released version 3 and then 4 within those 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Not like, oh, let's release something for the sake of releasing something. Because there's this thing in business, in entrepreneurship called minimum viable product. And I feel like that's what they did to enter the motorcycle world, where it's like, okay, this is good enough, right? This is going to please our investors that we released something and we were able to recoup some of the money invested, so we can work on a better helmet. And sure, the version 4, I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Me too.
My gripe is, and I've commented on these, I'm like, look, Rorock should have never came out with a version 1 and 2. It should have been a version 1 at version 3 and a version 2 at a version 4. Rorock wasted people's money, right? Because helmets have a life. There's the reason Shoei doesn't come out with a helmet every year, right? There's a life cycle. And then even then, it's like the RF 1200 was like the gold standard for at least 4 to 5 years before they came up with an update of the RF 1400. And even the 1400 is not, it's a really small update, but I don't think they're going to come out with a 1500, in the next year or two. It's a waste of people's money, in my opinion. And I don't want to have to spend $1,200 for them to get it right. It looks cool. I'll give them that. It looks really badass. It reminds you of like the Bell helmets, or like the drag racing helmets, right?
The Simpson.
Yeah. I think they look cool, man. I've been a fan of their snowboard helmets for a long time. I've never owned one, but when they came into the motorcycle world, I shunned them, man. I was like, no, you're not a motorcycle company. Don't come in here and be another Icon. And I feel like that's what happened. I've never seen anybody at the track rocking a Rorock, man.
So, quick thing. One good thing that came out of it, I did one of their video, and I did a stream where I talked about it. One Rorock rep will be on the stream at some point. So they did reach out. So that's very interesting. Now, my question to you is: do you think if they didn't do Rorock 1, 2, would there be a 4? Because I think what I'm talking about on a business aspect, I think if you're bleeding money into production, you have a staff. You're paying everyone. You're paying for a building. You're paying for warehouse. At which point you start recouping some money. I think I'm just speaking always devil's advocate here, just to kind of have a little bit of positive and negative going. I think they had to bring some money in order to justify continuing producing, because we're talking about 4 years of continuously bleeding money out. Now we're going from being in the green, you're not in the black anymore, we're in the red, and we're not getting anything in. So I think to some degree, I think I don't agree with them having so many different iterations that weren't perfect. My problem that I have, and I mentioned, in a respectable review, I mentioned, of course, it's like the iPhone of it. I don't think if they release a new helmet next year and the color's just different, I have an option whether I want to buy it or not, just because of the color or the styling or the design. But having to buy a new helmet because they added features that should have been there from day one is a tough thing to tell someone or to sell. I think my suggestion when they reached out to me, I said, hey man, I think it might be a dope idea to do a trade-in program, recycling program, or something like that. Because I think I'm gonna review this at some point, or at least go over this helmet of really using it. But my approach is gonna be very different. I'm getting a 4.0, so I'm gonna have a clean slate of never really. I'm gonna have a clear, open mind, never seen a 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. So it's 4, and I think this helmet is very good. But the overall damage that was done, not only because the helmet wasn't perfect in the very jump, I think their biggest area of opportunity where they had a big issue is the fact that they had content creators doing content, and it was being funneled. I think that's the bigger problem, because people can overlook if something is good enough. You know, a jacket's good enough, a bike's good enough, a helmet's good enough, and it's expensive AGV pistas or $1,500. You know, a rider's not going to complain if it's good enough. But I think the biggest area of opportunity of where they kind of lost people is the pay to play and try to control information. I think that's the thing. Yeah.
I think their target market was people who watched YouTube, because they did a lot of heavy marketing, like affiliate marketing, towards motovloggers. And, you know, I don't know if you remember that one helmet that came out, and I know Chase on Two Wheels got a lot of
I know the one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the one with the screen. I think it's similar to that. Like me, for one, when I saw the helmet, I fucking loved it, man. The Ronin with the gold. I was like, yo, that is sick. Like, that is a helmet I would love to wear. And then when I started seeing and hearing things about it from people who bought it firsthand, and I actually even reached out to them, and I was like, hey man, like, could you guys send me one for like a discount? And they're like, yeah, totally, we'll give you 20% off. And then after I started hearing things about it, I was like, oh man, what a disappointment, man. It's such a cool looking helmet. I wish it functioned as good as it looked, right? And I think it does now. But I feel like maybe they had just put some money towards like maybe some more R&D and not so much like the marketing side of it. I feel like it wouldn't have disappointed so many people. I don't know. There's a cult following for these, and I have a Grom now, and I would rock one on my Grom. I don't think I would rock one at the track. I wouldn't rock it full suited. I don't even think I'd rock the 4.0 unless you say it's good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know, it's so funny.
I haven't seen them.
I'm trying to look up the freaking company's name real quick so I can tell you the name. The smart helmet you're talking about. They made a big splash too. People were very excited. I can find a quick color while you're going, and I thought it was rude. I'm looking down the entire time.
Yeah, no, of course, yeah.
But yeah, they had big potential, and I think I always like seeing stuff like this when somebody's doing something that's different and that's challenging. It's going to inspire others to do better. So I think that's cool. The thing here is, I think they went after the Icon brand almost a little bit. They're the Icon, right? And I think they need to really specify this to people that the Ruroc helmet is not a race helmet. They're designed for street riding. You know, they're done for, you know, people that, you know, want to have a vibe or a look or something like that, which is great. And also, to their credit, right, I love the fact that it's integrated, their communication system. I am pretty tired of having a thing hanging from the side of my helmet. So they are doing certain things. The better question here and now, I think, is will they recover and continue? Because I'm imagining a 5.0 would be really good, or even beyond that, because they've done things that are, from what I'm seeing and I'm reading, and I'm looking at everything from a perspective of somebody that's never tried it or never tried the older helmets. They're actually doing things a little bit better than some of the season or legacy products that are out there. They have those cups on the ear where you could remove and take out, where it kind of cover the side of your ear kind of thing. The Rion thing, like the impact absorbing, which is similar to my 6D helmet, which I love. They are doing things a little bit different. The biggest thing is the damage that was caused in the beginning, can that be fixed?
I think for me, no. I'm just gonna stick to what I know. Shoei, AGV. I'd get a Suomi, even though they don't fit me, over that. I'd get an Arai over a Ruroc. It's just the money that I'm gonna spend on a Ruroc. I just don't trust it enough. You know, Shoei's tried and true, man.
Yeah, but the thing
Yeah.
is, isn't that like a not great way to think is going to hinder development? You know, it's almost
I
like
don't think they're,
you don't think so?
I don't think capturing me as a target market is their goal anyway.
You don't think so?
No, no.
Nah,
I
a
don't
business
think
will
so. I
not
don't think-
targeting just one group.
I really don't think you'll ever see a track guy
No.
rock over a rock at the track. Period.
No.
Period. You're not gonna see us rocking it because we've crashed everything. That's what we do. We crash them, and once we don't trust it, that's it. It's over. Like you're not gonna get us back. Like Icon, you'll never see any. Like some tracks actually ban Icon helmets. I don't know if you
Really?
knew that. Yeah.
No. See, that I'm unaware of.
Yeah. See, and like hardcore track guys, I'm not even that hardcore anymore. But hardcore track guys, they will wreck. Like I know a guy who's wrecked in the same helmet for like 5 seasons, and it's like the RF 1200, right? And then he finally moved up to the 14, but he's like, yeah, just trust it that much.
Okay.
I've wrecked in it so many times, and at the track they don't make you get it's a misconception that people think like they look for like expired helmets or Snell or whatever rated. If you go to the track and they see like a name brand like Shoei, AGV, Arai, Suomi, they're not even gonna look. They're not gonna question you twice because these are guys that have wrecked in the same, pieces of protection that you're rocking.
Mm.
But if they see you like automatically, they see like Icon, they're gonna question it. They're gonna be like, oh, they're gonna come up to me like, what's wrong with you? Why are you rocking that helmet? You want to die today? No. And I think that's the reputation that Ruroc has in the track. I'm telling you, if I start seeing it at the track, I'm gonna be surprised because that means they made a really killer helmet that we gotta have, right? Okay. It's already there. You're never gonna touch the track guys. You're never gonna touch the guys that like put on suits and like to go really, really fast. Who you are gonna touch is like the Grom riders, the 300 riders, even the 600 guys or the street guys that you're saying like just like to wear cool swag. Like I would totally rock a Ruroc, man, on my Grom. You'd never catch me on a super bike, on 1,000cc rocking a Ruroc, dude.
All right, fair enough. Man. So anyway, we're going to lighten things up a little bit. I have to kind of make mention, man. So where do you see your channel? Because we're going to be wrapping up soon, and I don't want to be holding you all night, of course. Guys, he's in a different time zone than me. So are you ahead of me or behind me? I think
I'm behind you, bro.
You're behind me. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you see the channel going, your channel going, and what are you looking to kind of do and kind of let people know to definitely hit up your channel?
Yeah. So I'm actually going to be doing a lot of electric bike content, and I'm also going to be moving into more track oriented content. I don't know if I'm going to be doing, I still want to do moto vlogs, especially in the summer. I'm going to pick that up. Okay. It's hard in the winter because it's cold as shit, right? And I'm old. But yeah, I think I'm just going to keep it kind of motorsports oriented. I'm going to take the cars to the track. I'm going to take the bikes to the track. And I think it's funny because you mentioned community, man, and I don't. Here's the downside to the community aspect of my channel, because that is what I wanted to do in the beginning. From the beginning of my channel, if you look back, it's like it's me hanging out with my friends, hanging out with people, going to bike meets. When you start gaining attention, and for me, it's like, okay, whatever, like 5,000 subscribers. It's like it's really like it's a drop in the bucket for us, right? But when other people start seeing some kind of momentum or a little bit of success, they start hating on you, man. And it's always the people like right next to you, right? And I'm not saying like my close friends are still my friends. A lot of them just don't ride bikes anymore, or like everybody kind of had kids and got a life. I'm talking about the people who you thought were your friends that you didn't really know that well. Those are the ones that made it hard for me to like go back to, a bike night. go on this group ride. Like I want to do all that stuff, Mike. Like I live for hanging out with people, but at the end of the day, it's like I have to go home and be like, dang, was that dude really my homie? Like, was that dude really my friend? Because he's gonna turn around and talk shit to me, you know, on a Facebook forum when it's like, dude, I literally taught you how to clean your chain inside of my garage, bro. And now you act like, you know, you know everything more than I do. And those are the kinds of things that happened to me when I was building that community. And it's made me like really just closed off to people. And it sucks because I'm a people person. I love people. And I love that you saw that in my channel, and I want to bring that back, but it's hard, man. It's hard because I don't trust anybody anymore.
I think we've all been there, man. I could speak from that as well too, but I won't even go into it because I mentioned to you earlier on that New York has a wide net of different style of riders, and I've done the same where I've reached out to people. It just didn't. Well, then again, we're talking about New York. Everybody has a bit of an ego, including myself, and you know, a lot of testosterone and bikes and stuff. So you know, it's kind of yeah. So basically, I know it all too well,
man. Keep it up. You know, I think the two biggest YouTubers in New York is Clutch First and Illustrator.
Yeah, he has good content as well.
Yeah, I love you guys, man. I love watching your shit, man. So, you know, I can't wait to see more, man. The live streams are dope for sure, and I love what you're doing. I'm gonna watch them as I catch on to them. I don't watch much moto vloggers anymore, but when you put out a moto vlog, I tell you what, man, I tune in and then I rewatch, bro, because I love that shit.
Yeah, man. You know, the funny thing is, I think my moto vlogs are going to be better this season only because I feel like, to be honest, I feel like they're going to be better for a multitude of reasons. One, they're becoming a supplement to my channel because I'm doing a new direction. So I'm doing it basically for the love, just for me, and then enjoying it. And whoever does, they do. If they don't, they don't. But then I have a very good idea of my pacing, my time. Some of these small things I think is going to be dope. And one of the biggest thing I think that freed me from it is being able to do sponsored content, which has helped my channel a lot. I've been fortunate. My channel's not huge, but being able to get sponsorship with brands or motivation and stuff like that, where I don't have to worry about like the finance part of things. I could just really do stuff that I really like, enjoy, and love and stuff. So I think I'm very excited for moto vlogging, to be honest. And I'm gonna continue doing it, man. For me, it's very difficult for me to walk away from something that I'm determined to make something. I'm not one of those people that would get up and say, yeah, I'm done, it's not working. I just can't. It's just not in my being. And you know, personally, in my personal life, there's been a lot of great things, a lot of difficult things, and I've never walked away and say, oh, I'm done because this is really hard. So I'm just gonna make it happen.
Hell yeah. I love you, Mike. I hope you know, we connect soon. I don't think I'll ever come back to New York. I thought it was fucking dirty and smelly.
It's pretty wild, man.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll definitely connect in person in the future, man. Like, you keep doing your thing, bro. Like, and I know we're watching each other's back. So
For sure.
You know, big up to the small YouTubers, man. And
yeah, man.
You know, for anybody watching out there that thinks like, you know, you're not going anywhere, don't do it for that, man. Just do it for the love. And then you'll find a small group of people who think like you. And it's been nice, man, to talk to you, because nobody talks to me like, you know, YouTubers, man.
Well, I like I said, I really liked the stream for this particular reason. I tell people all the time, it's hard to convince people when they're very accustomed to something, installs or reviews or motovlogs. I'm like, yo, this is cool because we really get to know who we're watching. And it's like, there's so many different aspects of motovlogging where, you know, the person might be an artist, they might be a mechanic. You want to know about this stuff because I think you really get to understand who you watch regarding the motovlogging. So I'm going to pull up some comments. We're going to reply to a couple of people that's been posting them, and then we'll just wrap up the night. By the way, you will be seeing me. I'm planning in the future, hopefully when this whole car thing kind of dies down, I want to kind of get a van and trick it out and load up 2 bikes and kind of travel through the U.S. and just kind of ride with people and just meet with people. Because I think motovlogging has changed a lot, where you riding in your own backyard is not is not enough. I think you want. This is why you're seeing Fastlane D reaching out to people. He's traveling out to Miami and just, it's different. It's a new vibe, and I think it's pretty cool. And then you don't have to worry about that hating thing because
Bro, I'm
it's not
with it,
people you
man.
know.
I'm gonna get you on an e-bike, bro.
No,
And then
listen,
smash.
I'm game. So you're gonna be off the screen, but yes, they'll be able to hear you. So you could definitely, I'll read them out, and you'll be able to reply to people. Hold on, guys, real quick. Just gonna do this. So last call for the night, guys. If you're watching, I'd appreciate it if you guys drop a thumbs up. Again, it definitely helps. Doesn't take anything away from you enjoying this. If you're listening to it later, you have questions. I answer pretty much anybody and everybody, so don't hesitate to drop a comment, and I'll just reply it back later. So let's take a quick look at some of these comments. Probably gonna start from the top and then go down, so some of them might be a little bit early on into the channel. So Governor D Nice mentioned definitely loving these streams. Yeah, man, they, like I said, I think it's a great outlet to kind of really know who you're watching, right? You agree, right, Paul?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
let's see. So Dynamine have seen the power of that is way too much for the street at 230 plus miles an hour. I think he's talking about the crash video from Max Riss here. Yeah. Let's see here. Governor D Nice mentioned here he loves your cinematics, which is really cool.
Appreciate you.
Let's see what we got. He also dropped you a sub.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man.
Donna Main used to be a Ducatista. He's upgrading his bike. He's getting something else, something that's less maintenance, something a little bit easier to ride and maintain long term. Life with Anna B mentioned here. How's it riding in Seattle? Because it rains way too much now.
Yeah, I don't ride in the rain anymore. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. I wish I was in Cali, but Cali is expensive. Yeah, it's not fun.
Let's see. So Governor D Nice, again, a lot of repeated here. Governor D Nice, 99% of YouTube viewers have ADHD and usually last 90 seconds the most on any video. Yeah, I would agree. I started doing shorts, and those are only 60-second videos, and those are doing amazing. So it's one of those things, man.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be pushing TikTok now that it's going to be YouTuber friendly. Like they're doing 10-minute videos now.
Donna Main here mentioned electric e-bikes are not for him. I think once you start with like riding regular motorcycles, combustion engine stuff, it's going to take a little bit of a transition period for you to kind of wrap your head around. I think the ideal thing that needs to be done prior to getting people into electric bikes, which, I'm not against anything, but I'm not going to say they're my favorite thing. I really love, especially coming from a Ducati, I really love the sound. If somebody rides like an R1 or ride an Aprilia, the sound is a lot of the battle that they're losing. But on one good note, I think if they create amazing, beautiful bikes, because a lot of us buy with our eyes first. If we can get past that hurdle and then getting the range right, I think, we might be okay. And I'm open to trying something, right? Would you agree, Paul?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. That's a good question for you, man. Futuristic Viper mentioned, would you take sound over torque? He would take sound over torque any day. How about you?
Yeah. God. Yeah, I agree. I mean, like e-bikes. All right. So if you're a motorcycle rider, the sound is definitely like I love the V4. I love the RS V4. Sound is something that you can't get with electric, but I think we have to start thinking about electric as like a supplement or like a side thing versus like a replacement. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think for me in my heart, I could ever replace a motorcycle like with that combustion engine. No way.
That's a great perspective, like having something to travel locally in your neighborhood or to work and back, but then you have your main bike. That's a good perspective. Yeah. Futuristic Viper also mentioned here, one thing I don't like about electric bikes are in cars, the companies nickel and dime you on features. That I have no knowledge about, so that's all you, Paul.
I'm sure they do, man. Yeah, I mean, like, I know Tesla's a big big one on that. But yeah, for sure. Like when it's that whole right to repair thing. You can't take it to anybody else except them. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, also want to say what's up to Dragon Chi. He dropped in also early on in the stream. So Dynamite mentioned here he used to watch New Jay, but he kind of moved away from
Dragon
motovlogging.
NG?
No, Dragon Chi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dynamite mentioned he used to watch New Jay, but he moved away from motovlogging again. So if I were to speak to this, I'm sure you could probably chime in as well. I think it's a financial thing. Again, when people are doing these content and enjoying themselves, one aspect of it is that you just do enjoy it, and then some people are doing it as a business where they have to pay their bills. So again, you're probably gonna get paid way more doing stuff that's more mainstream. Again, being niche is sub category. It's really difficult. Would you agree, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he definitely moved away, and that was when I unsubbed, but I still respect the guy for what he did. So
yeah, I agree. His content is really cool. Again, I felt some type of way when he stopped writing as well. I almost as if he used us to propel himself and then just bounced out. But then when you take the feelings out of it, the emotions, you'll see, he's here for business. So you have to respect that as well. So that's my thought. Let's see here. We have Bud Tussinel. I always freaking fumble this guy's name every single time, but I appreciate you. Unfortunately, I believe motovlogging leans more towards hooligan, childish writing, smashing mirrors, speeding, wheelies, etc., etc. Example, Do It With Dan and now Killicam. I don't know who's Killicam, but I'll definitely look that up and take a look. What's your thought, man?
Younger kid, Killicam, does a lot of track day stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just a different crowd. I don't know about Do It With Dan. Did he used to do that stuff? I used to watch him back in the day, but I think he's grown a little bit more mature now.
Yes,
and,
he has.
Yeah, and I would say that is one side of it. That is true, but I don't think that's the majority of us.
But it gets a lot of attention, a lot of views, even though it might be a small portion. It's consuming. Like it's the thing that everyone talks about all the time. And I remember that was one of my biggest turnoff in the beginning of motovlogging. I'm like, damn, I'm never gonna blow because I just can't see myself doing that because I'm one of those people that kind of, my wife would probably tell you this, I tend to analyze things a lot and probably so deep into it where it's bad for me. I always feel like, wow, I understand this person got cut off, but he just broke someone's mirror or kicked his mirror or something like that. I work very hard for mine. Let's say if I was on the road and it was my vehicle and I didn't see, and by mistake it happens because bikes are very fast, very loud. By the time you hear the sound, they might have passed already. Somebody kicked my fucking car. I work very hard for it to earn it. I'd be very upset as well. So, and I'm like, I can't see myself ever having that reaction, no matter how upset I am. So it's a difficult thing for you to be able to picture when you're able to put yourself in someone else's space. So that's always been tough for me.
Yeah, I hate that some YouTubers made that a thing, like mirror kicking. Come on, man.
Yeah. So he Tussin will mention here, this is the reason why Moto Madness is so popular. This channel is like it's not a collaboration, but more of a, what's the word I'm looking for?
Cut and paste, like a compilation.
Yeah, compilation. Yeah. I'm even guilty of it. He's actually asked for my video and I'm like, yeah, put it on. And
same.
And I didn't like the reaction I was getting, man. Like, some people were coming over, but then they were expecting this wild shit. I'm not about that. I want to have a good time. I want to enjoy my bike, and I don't need to do it a certain way for someone else's pleasure. If you want to do that, you get your own bike, you do that kind of thing. So, let's see here. Futuristic Viper mentioned here. Max Versus is one reckless individual with like 20 lives.
Yeah, man, that guy is wrecked so many times.
I don't know, man. It's like I said, same to go back to what I just said. I love bikes. I enjoy riding them. I've actually spoken to Eve regarding this since he does a lot of road racing, and I'm like, hey, man, how do you do this all the time with people and having family and children? You know what I mean? So it's like, you can always go for as long as you want and do it as long as you want, but it's sooner or later, it's never perfect forever. So it's tough.
Yeah, yeah. I actually have I found a newfound respect for those guys that do like straight line racing, because I have no idea how they just like pin the throttle. That scares the shit out of me, man. And I ride at the track, so
for me, I've always been more I mean, I do respect them doing the road racing. There's no problem with that at all. You know what I mean? My only thing is that some of them, they don't even wear any gear. It's just like shorts, because they're just weight. Again, my buddy told me, hey man, it's not really because they don't want to be safe. It's all about weight savings in order to best the next guy. But it's a lot. But how do you call it, man? I mean, for me, I've always been more passionate about being fast in the corners or exiting a corner properly and catching that wave right. For me, it's more MotoGP style, not.
And at the track, you'll learn that it's actually your brakes that make you fast. It's not the throttle.
Learning to brake at the right time, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all about timing. Yep.
Again, a lot of the same comment that guy Kel's mentioned here. Max is a reckless rider. Everyone that watches any video sees this. No regards to other riders.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna get a lot of that. You see it a lot, but then there's a crowd that loves watching this stuff, man. I mean, it's kind of wild. I mean, I've seen some. To his credit, it is very entertaining watching it from the sidelines. But as a rider yourself, and knowing the risks and the rewards and how it could impact yourself and other people, like the video I played earlier, how that other guy was in the ditch. You know what I mean? It impacts other people outside of that entertainment value. So, depending the age you are and how you would view it, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Again, Governor D Nice here mentioned, wow, that's wild about rest. Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot, man. He said, unfortunately, there's not enough people that think like you, Paul. So just basically being able to stand up and say something if you don't like it. Yeah. It's a huge deal for sure. And you have to respect that, man, because, going out there, getting shot for others, that takes a lot. So.
Yeah, man. Fuck.
Let's see what else I got here. I'll pull up a couple more. Life with Anna B mentioned, what do you think about the Ducati e-bicycle? Like the new Mig S?
Yeah. They're not fast enough for me. So, and they have pedals. Yeah. I'm not my thing.
For me, it's a no-go for me too, because one, they're like $10,000. If you're going to make an e-bike, I think it needs to be in the $4,500 range. To make it justifiable. If you're spending the same amount of money for an e-bike as a motorcycle, then at least right now, you might as well just buy a motorcycle. So for sure.
Yep.
Dragon Chi mentioned here, I don't have a Ducati, but I enjoy seeing Mike do his own repairs, his own upgrades, working on his own bike. But I saw his passion in not just his bike, but in the motorcycle community as a whole. Yeah, man. It's a big deal to me. You know what I mean? I feel like my initial mission statement for my channel was to show people you can be a Ducati owner and not fear the overall costs. I mean, again, it's not a good pitch because you can't say it in 1 or 3 words. Again, that's one of those things. There's little gems in this stream, guys. It's a whole explanation. So that's not a good pitch. You could own a Ducati if you could learn certain basic things on your own. If you're not doing your valves, that's where the overall cost. You could also sell your bike before the valve adjustment or trade it in. That was my mission in the beginning. Yeah, you could be a Ducati owner and don't panic. The bikes are all not garbage. It's not going to cost you as bad. But that didn't work out for my channel, unfortunately. But I still love working on my bike, right? Would you say? I think you're the same, Paul. You work on your bike a lot too.
Yeah, all the time. My bikes get taken apart all the time just because I'm doing, something stupid like changing spark plugs for no reason. So.
Yo, Futuristic Moto said, man, if you're ever out in Boston, come through. Clam chowder on him. Yeah.
I have a sister that's out in in Cambridge. So I'm out there a lot.
Look at that. Nizhoni mentioned here, can't wait to see me travel. Yeah, I'm very excited for it. It's something that I'm stoked to do. I just feel like all of the vans that were ideally between 15,000 to 20,000, which I'm planning to keep and brand it for the channel, more of an investment, but they're all going between $50,000 to $60,000, and that's wild for a used van. So hopefully things get better economy-wise, and I'm able to kind of do this a lot faster and just meet everyone, even yourself. I'll cruise around your way and ride with people. Let's see what else we got here. Steven Turner mentioned, I still say I won't want an electric motorcycle until they come out with one that you can complete an iron butt challenge on. That's a tough one, man. I mean, that's kind of it's not a bad thing to be able to do an iron butt on, which you can, I think. When you're sleeping, you can plug your bike in and let it charge for the day. And that's a small market that people are traveling for an iron butt across the US or something like that. Will they ever tailor a specific bike for such a small niche group? Probably not. So it's going to be difficult to say that. I mean, we also have to look at things as a business. Is it warrant enough attention for you to do that? It's like saying,
go ahead.
Guys.
I think Honda will.
You think?
I think Honda will.
Look at that.
The Goldwing is for those guys, right?
Yeah.
And the Goldwing community is huge. And I think in the Goldwing, they'll be able to fit those kinds of batteries. As battery technology advances, you're going to see those kinds of ranges. I mean, it's inevitable. So
I'm going to read this one. It's a little bit of a loaded question here. Dragon, she mentioned here, I don't want to start too much drama. It's never drama, man. To me, whenever somebody has something to say, whether it's negative, there's ways that you can speak with people, being respectful, and you can still give constructive feedback, even negative feedback, where it's not dramatic. I don't want to start too much drama, but I'm not happy with the fact that there are some great content creators that are of color, meaning, of course, black guys, or maybe minorities overall, but not getting the screen time they deserve. I'm assuming that's where we're heading. So it's tough to kind of just go off like being minority, that you're not being seen. YouTube is such a vicious beast. Some people come in and they get lucky. They ride the wave just right, and then they blow up. I mean, Snoo J is Filipino, right? He's mixed. Mm-hmm. He's not complete. You can't say he's white or he's black, but he's definitely a minority in the game, and he's doing well. Fastlane D, he's just coming at the right time. A new channel, good pacing, and his is taken off. And yes, I agree, there are some minorities that are not getting seen, but I don't think it's solely because they're minorities. Even for myself, I don't think it has anything to do that the fact that I'm black and my channel's not big enough. Would you have a bigger audience if you're white? Yes, because let's be real, the majority of the United States, once you leave the East Coast or the West Coast, some people have never seen an Asian person, or a Spanish person, or a black person. So you have a bigger pool to feed from. So that's my take. What about you? What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, the culture is just so different when you see somebody who is different from you. And if the American culture is mostly white currently, then, it's hard for anybody to try to relate to a motovlogger that's not their color. That's why it took me so long to motovloggers, because there were no motovloggers like me until Snooze came along. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's, but I don't think it has necessarily to do with like the color. I think it's more like culture and relatability.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I definitely agree. Let's see what we got here. Let's see here. Tussin mentioned here, you mentioned Ducati prices going up might cause a negative trend on price. Yamaha is doing good and giving more, charging less, like their MT-09 SP. This is a really, really great question. I actually was talking about this with my wife a little bit earlier in the day, of how my latest video where I talk about the new Ducati Panigale V4 SP2. I love Ducati. I love what they do. the going trend, especially where the economy is at the moment, their bikes started off, 15, 20, 22. The peak was 30. Now we're seeing $40,000 motorcycles, and they're selling. They're being sold out very quickly. And I think once other companies are seeing that, eventually they're gonna structure their price to either match or come close to what the top guy is doing. That's one of my biggest fears. That you won't be able to get a really nice bike if you're not spending $40,000. I mean, granted, I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm fortunate enough to have multiple bikes or even have a very expensive one. Not everyone falls in that category. And that could be something that's problematic, I think, moving forward. But in the same breath, in order to have technology move forward, for things to get better, better motorcycles, new technologies tend to be a lot more expensive. So it's kind of yin and yang here, man. I mean, it's tough. I mean, the best advice I can give personally, focus on yourself and be successful. Because I would tell you right now, I always mention this on all my streams. I didn't have any of this. I didn't grow up having any of these big things or toys or home and stuff like that. It was very difficult. I grew up in a very poor area, and I had to grind for mine, man. So the best I could tell you, focus on yourself and make things happen so you could put yourself in a position where you can do what you want. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always going to be a challenge. Is things are always going to be more expensive and going to get more expensive, and I think inflation is another reason why things just keep going up. But honestly, I don't think you should necessarily reach for the best, the biggest and best out there. I think you should always reach for what you can, what you can have fun on with your budget.
I agree.
There's always going to be something better. Like, sure, they got the V4 SP right now, but next 10 years, there's going to be an electric SP, right? And it's going to be like 60 grand, right? So yeah, don't worry. I would say don't worry about the prices going up. Just whatever you can afford. It's like, it's the same smile, man. Whether you're on a $40,000 bike or a $5,000 Gixxer, it's the same fun.
I agree 100%. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Really, really appreciate it. I'm gonna give Paul the floor for a second, just to kind of again mention his channel and kind of let you guys know to check him out, and we'll call it a night. Paul, you're on, man. That's all you.
Right on. So I appreciate you guys. Mike, thanks for having me on. I've been a big fan of yours for a long time, and I feel like you're one of the most respected YouTubers in our niche. I feel like you have all the credit when credit's due. You've been a huge motivation to me, and I love your content. I enjoy your content, and if you guys do want to subscribe to my channel, it gets kind of wild that I'm trying to niche down right now, but I'm just still sort of having fun with this thing. So if I put out a motorcycle video, check it out. If I put out an e-bike video, you don't have to check it out. There's a different audience for that. So yeah, I can't wait, Mike. I can't wait for you to travel, bro. Like, you just gave me an idea, and I might do the same. I might meet you somewhere down in the Midwest. So yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely gonna do that, guys. Thank you all for tuning in, and if you're watching this a little bit later, definitely smash that thumbs up. Always great to have these conversations. For me, at least me personally, even on that level, I enjoy doing this outside of doing all the other pieces of content. And I get to know other people a little bit more, and then also it helps me out of my comfort zone where I'm just working on my channel only. I'm reaching out to people. I'm getting the clients. Don't think every single person you see that's on here came through willingly. I'm reaching out. I'm touching base with people. Some people are saying no. Some people are ignoring me. So, and that's cool. But it's getting me out of my comfort zone, and it's creating something else. It's an early build. So, again, thank you guys again for coming through. Fireblade Pilot just came in the last second, man. You might have to rewatch it later, but I can assure you it was a good conversation, and you would enjoy if you're here. Smash that thumbs up, and guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good night. Peace.